South African Medical Research Council funds and conducts research that is aimed at impacting on the lives of South Africans. We are the largest African funder of medical research. The South African Medical Research Council was established in 1969, and so we have been around for 50 years. Because funding is always a challenge, the South African Medical Research Council focuses on the 10 most common causes of death in South Africa. And we have what we call a quadruple burden of disease. And we have a protracted epidemiological transition. And that's because of our burden of HIV and TB, which contribute to the biggest mortality in our country, which makes it very difficult for us to move from communicable diseases into addressing the issues of obesity, diabetes and hypertension. And that's the second most significant cause of death after HIV and TB. And so we're stuck, and that is why our health system is under so much stress. It causes substantial burden in South Africa. So I'm interested in making sure that all our health priorities are aligned with our National Development Plan and also in terms of our SDGs. So I would like to make sure that our scientists are supported to imagine a new South Africa and a new Africa, and to bring in things like artificial intelligence, precision medicine into health, to make sure that we can leapfrog technology to address the ills that happen in South Africa. We work both at a local level, at a regional level with other scientists in Africa, and at a global level to make sure that our science is poised in global priorities, because we need to make sure that our scientists are competitive internationally and are supported so that they can make discoveries that will not only help South Africa but the world. The South African Medical Research Council has collaborated with the Beijing Genome Institute to develop the first whole genome sequencing institute in Africa. I would like to see the Medical Research Council focus on developing human capacity. We need to replenish the pipeline, make sure that the scientists who serve South Africa are as vibrant and diverse as our communities. And so I see us looking at developing women of color, and focusing not only in urban settings but in rural settings. So I'm interested in making sure that all the health priorities are aligned with our National Development Plan and also in terms of our SDGs. The South African Medical Research Council believes in public-private partnerships. We work with the Public Health Enhancement Fund to establish a National Health Scholarships Program, which we've named the Bongani Mayosi National Health Scholarship Program. And we aim to train 100 clinician scientists who get their PhDs every year until we have 1,000 clinician scientists who can take on the work to realize our dream of having a healthy South Africa.
Reminiscent of old SABC days. We're live. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 7th South African Medical Research Council Scientific Merit Awards. We do apologize for the delay, particularly to those online. It's somewhat reminiscent of our early family meeting days with the president. The only difference, the marked difference here being is you're not going to get a copy of my speech after this particular event on any WhatsApp group. Tonight is very different. Tonight we are celebrating, tonight is a celebration of research excellence that has positively impacted the lives of all South Africans. Research that has made a huge difference. I recently read a study, in fact, that has given me an extra 45 days of my life. It was a study that had to do with flossing. It's true. If you floss, you need to know that science has now shown that flossing has got zero impact when it comes to preventing gum disease or cavities. So if you didn't floss and you were feeling guilty about that, your guilt is alleviated. If you have been flossing, then stop. Because you've been flossing for a minute every day for almost 70 years of your life, that's 45 days you can get back of your life. Thank you, science. And not only that, in fact, when it comes to real longevity, here's another study that really impressed me from years ago. It was a study around the benefits of coffee. Harvard did an amazing study. It was over sort of 10 years, 20,000 participants, and really the study showed the more coffee you and I drink, the less chance we have of dying. Protective against diabetes and certain cancers, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. And in fact, the same study went on to show that we should be drinking at least 6 cups of coffee a day. The black stuff, not the white stuff. And that would ensure we live a little bit longer. And then there's red wine, but I digress, already off script, so let me get back to what's most important today, and that's really to extend a special welcome to the SAMRC board, our president and CEO, Professor Glenda Gray, our winners, our nominators, and of course our audience watching remotely from your homes. Welcome to this hybrid version of our Scientific Merit Awards, all protocols apparently observed, coming to you from a beautiful marquee and outside venue with plenty of ventilation just outside the MRC conference. Guys, you can give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you for joining us this afternoon and this evening. I guess if you were with us physically, and I'm now talking to our audience at home, I've invited or indicated where the bathrooms were, but you are at home, so I guess you know where those are already. Amazing. We haven't even gotten into the program, and already there's a bit of toilet humor. I do apologize for that. Back on script, one good outcome of the COVID pandemic has been the spotlight that's been turned on the importance of reliable science, evidence-based facts, and the truth, especially in the midst of a global pandemic that has really brought about an infodemic of wild opinion and hearsay. Good scientific rigor wins the day, and it's what we so desperately need, particularly in these times, and it's what we are celebrating tonight. I think COVID-19 has been a stark reminder of our human fragility and possible threats to human health. More than ever, science is needed to save lives. In fact, that statement comes from my second year at varsity. In fact, it was physics save lives. And I'll never forget, it was a physics class I was battling through, and midway through this lecture, a student stands up and stops our professor mid-sentence and says, "I'm sorry, Prof, but why do we as doctors have to do or study physics?" And this professor was great. He just said, "Because physics saves lives." And he carried on. Same student didn't sit down, refused to take that as an answer, and said, "I'm sorry, Professor, but how does physics save lives?" And I'll never forget his answer. He looked at that student, he said, "Physics saves lives because it keeps idiots like you out of med school." I thought, how true. I wasn't the one asking the question, although I certainly was thinking that. But of late, that adage, physics save lives, has been replaced for me anyway with this one, activist professors save lives. One in particular, Professor Glenda Gray, to quote from the Daily Maverick, "Armed with courage, a sense of urgency, and ability to survive on steely determination and almost no sleep, a team of people, including the lead investigator in the Johnson & Johnson trial, Professor Glenda Gray, and the Minister of Health, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, moved heaven and earth and a whole lot of aeroplanes and trucks and many, many boxes to get the precious doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine to the provinces, into the arms of our healthcare workers." And to you, Prof, I want to say thank you very, very much. As one of those workers, we are at war. Our soldiers are healthcare workers, and our generals are our scientists today. In fact, I thought General Patton's quote, many of you might have heard that before, was so apt for what happened in these last few weeks. And he said this: "A good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan next week." And so to Professor Gray, General Gray, pick your descriptor, almost single-handedly securing 500,000 doses. Just want to say thank you very, very much. A global HIV researcher, a leader, an NRF A1-related scientist, rated scientist. You're world-renowned, you're one of our own, and again, the applause just says thank you so very, very, very much. A personal heroine, Prof. Glenda Gray, the stage is yours. Thank you very, very much.
So for Johnny, our chair of the board, wherever you are, we give you a wave. And we're glad that you're streaming in from Johannesburg. Other members of the board, all protocol observed. I want to say thank you very much for having this event. We deliberated for weeks about what we should be doing, whether we should be having a completely virtual event or whether we should do face-to-face or whether we should do a hybrid. And we spoke to our awardees, and they said, well, we also want to be part of the program, part of the endeavor. Let's do it. So Mandy and Alfred called me in and said, we're going to do this Harvard Award. And I said, just do it. And they've just done it. We're in a spectacular place at the campus on Infante van Zyl Road with an open venue, lots of wind. So we can make sure we practice social distancing and adhere to some of the NPRs, but also to know there's lots of wind and so we're quite safe. So the Merit Awards are a special program for the MRC, and every year we try and do this. And this has been done since 2013 when the MRC was revitalized. And this is the time of the year where we celebrate medical research and we celebrate our doctors and our medical scientists who make magic in the world and save people's lives and make impact. And so this evening is to celebrate you, the nerdy doctors and medical researchers and scientists that literally change the world. And we're going to both profile our emerging young scientists who will find their way as science leaders in the future. We want to also celebrate our established scientists and also those magnificent men and women who literally change the shape of our country and the world to come. And so I'm very excited to be here again and to observe the amazing talent that South Africa has got, and also to note that a lot of this talent are women, a women health scientist, and so it's wonderful to see the splendor and the talent and the diversity of our program. And so thank you for all being here, and thank you for streaming. And I'm going to hand over to my eloquent partner in crime to take us through the processes and get me back on track.
Thank you, Glenda. It is so difficult, these protocols. I want to put out a hand to help you down. Anyway. So the distance is the distance, and that's what we're applying. Nerdy doctors. I have not heard that phrase used before, but you're right. I think it was. Wasn't it Bill Gates who said, be kind to nerds, you're going to work for them one day? Well, I think we need to respect our nerdy doctors, because not that we're going to work for them one day, but we owe our lives to them. So guys, thank you very, very much. It was Mary Kay Ash, a famous entrepreneur, who famously said, the two things people want more than sex and money, praise and recognition. And we want to hand out a lot of that tonight, the praise and recognition, but not the sex and money. But obviously that's another evening. No, that's not at all. On qualifying criteria, interesting story for you from a relatively well-known scientist, Thomas Edison. Some people ask unusual job interview questions, others use the undercover interview technique, still others check out the condition of your car. There are ways and means. What Edison did, he did a soup test, and any would-be employee, he'd invite for a bowl of soup, and if they tasted their soup without, or if they added salt or pepper to their soup without tasting it, he refused to employ them because they were making assumptions. they weren't making decisions based on what they know. And assumptions tend to be innovation killers, and they would not be employed, which I loved. So the SALT test has become quite famous. You don't need to pass the SALT test to be an award nominee here tonight. So we're not making no assumptions. We're just giving out accolades. So to those accolades, our awards have an established set of medals to recognize outstanding science. We're going to kick off with our silver awards, just making sure, JP, we have got those. We do indeed. Wonderful. Silver medals are awarded to up-and-coming scientists who've made important scientific contributions within 10 years of receiving a PhD or an M.Med qualification. And the first of those is Dr. Jennifer Hoving. Let's see what she has to say. Jennifer, sorry, before you get up, Jennifer, there's going to be a video, and then I'll call you up. My bad. Well, there was going to be a video, Jennifer. Maybe we should show that after you've come up. What do we say, guys? Video, no video? We can explain. JP, I can't hear what you're saying. Jennifer, let's give Jennifer a big round of applause when you come up and receive your award. Jennifer, we'll play those videos now. Thank you so much.
Professor Claire Hoving is a Wellcome Trust Intermediate Fellow in Public Health and Tropical Medicine and a member of the Institute of Infectious Disease and Molecular Medicine, IDM, South Africa, and is also an Associate Professor within the Division of Immunology, Department of Pathology, University of Cape Town, South Africa. As an NRF Y rating African immunologist, her ambition is to address neglected infectious diseases prevalent on this continent while empowering local scientists, especially women. Her background is in understanding the host immune response during infections prevalent in Africa, such as parasites, like those causing bilharzia and leishmaniasis, and bacteria like Mycobacterium TB. The focus of a newly established research group is on HIV-related fungal infection. Serious fungal infections continue to devastate people living with HIV, and they remain a leading cause of infectious-related deaths in sub-Saharan Africa, second only to TB. Considering the urgent need for capacity in this field, her research focuses on HIV-related fungal infection. With the increase of diseases rendering patients immunocompromised, such as HIV/AIDS, the incidence of opportunistic fungal infection is increasing with detrimental effects. Therefore, the current major focus is understanding the immune response to pneumocystis jirovecii, a common cause of pneumonia and death in patients with HIV/AIDS in Africa, which is estimated to kill over 250,000 people worldwide every year. She is a recipient of the following awards: the Carnegie Corporation Developing Emerging Academic Leaders, NRF Competitive Support for Unrated Researchers, NRF Research Career Advancement, Early Career Fellowship International Wellcome Trust. She says her potential as an independent scientist, together with the opportunity to invest in medical mycology research, was recognized by the SAMRC through the SAMRC Sir Award, adding that it marked her transition and she now has her own research team focused on this highly neglected area of research, particularly in Africa.
Thanks. I'd just like to thank the MRC. It's quite amazing to be up here with quite amazing world leaders in science, and as an emerging researcher, it's truly something to aspire to. So I thought I'd just mention, I decided to follow a career in neglected infectious diseases affecting Africa. And this was mostly motivated by a trip through Africa where I spent a month in Ethiopia, and after going to visit various labs, I went to a routine diagnostic lab, and what I thought was actually leprosy turned out to be people infected with leishmaniasis. And so I returned to UCT in Cape Town and joined Frank Brombacher, who's here actually in his lab, and signed up for honors program. And so my research career started with Frank, and after completing a PhD, I decided I wanted to focus on neglected infectious diseases affecting Africans, and with a tremendous support from Gordon Brown and the MRC UK Centre in the UK on medical mycology, I started my own research group, recently on medical mycology. And this is an area that is completely neglected in Africa specifically. And in South Africa, there's only a handful of researchers working in this field. So I'm very excited to be in this field and having started my lab here. And of course, this would never have been possible without the support I've received from UCT and someone I think who hopefully has joined the virtual meeting, Valerie Mizrahi. She's been an incredible mentor and an amazing advocate for women in science, and she's really supported me. And also, of course, my lab, many of who you saw in the video, and some of them weren't there because they spread around Africa doing research in fungal immunology. And I see my husband is here, and I do need to thank him after this crazy year we've had. He's been trying, working day and night to support our family and his company, and he always seems to make it to breakfast in the morning and get the kids to school, whether that's homeschooling or not. And so I just want to thank him. And then maybe just to mention one of the most memorable moments from 2020, and this was before the pandemic and before the lockdown. I was in Ethiopia, and I was invited to give a fungal immunology lecture in Ethiopia, and it was just amazing to go back to the place. That was the reason why I started research in infectious diseases in the first place, and to see how they've progressed and the amazing things that they are doing after 20 years since I was there. So just thank you to the MRC and for giving me this opportunity and all the people that have supported me in my career. Thank you very much.
Would you like to take a photograph, Alan? I think let's do a quick pic. I'm not going to stand next to Claire, so it's just Claire on her own with the medal that she helped herself off the table at the back. Crazy. Let's give Claire another round of applause. Well done, Claire. Thank you so very much. What a wonderful start to the evening, just the accolade and the legacy of starting something that has so little research behind it and really making a difference. That is the epiphany of an unsung hero. So Claire, thank you so very, very much. Frank, I don't know if that Brombacher is related to a Dick Brombacher. I studied under Dick for during my surgery rotation. He was like the opposite of nerdy doctor. He was like a cool doctor in the surgery ward, you know. So, but we can chat about that afterwards. Again, I digress. I do apologize. We have 3 Silver Award medal winners, Silver Award winners. The second of those is Dr. Stefanus Malherba. We're going to play the video first, Stefanus, and then we're going to applaud you as you come up to stage. That is the plan. JP, push play, please.
Dr. Stefanus Malherbe is the Chief Medical Officer at the Stellenbosch University Biomedical Research Institute clinical team. As a clinical researcher, his fields of research and areas of expertise are around TB diagnostics, TB treatment and response, automated image analysis, study design and TB immunology. His pioneering work titled Persisting Positron Emission Tomography Lesion Activity in Mycobacterium TB mRNA after TB Cure was published in Nature Medicine in 2016. This innovative research formed the basis for his PhD dissertation titled Evaluating the Treatment Response of Pulmonary TB by 18F-FDG PET-CT scans, which he defended successfully at the end of 2016. He played a major part in the clinical studies that led to the discovery of host transcriptomic protein signatures, which have been incorporated in point-of-care devices to use as screening tools for TB disease. If validated, would greatly streamline testing and treatment initiation. In 2017, he received the H.T. Breed Award for the best TB-related publication by postgraduate student in the health sciences, De Leon Award for lectures, and the following year he was the finalist in Clinical Research Excellence, South African Clinical Research Society. In 2019 he won the Young Investigator Prize, the International Union Against TB and Lung Disease. Dr. Malherbe has been affiliated with the South African Medical Research Council Center for TB Research since 2013. He also received support from the SAMRC to complete his PhD in the form of a scholarship from the Clinician Researcher Program from 2014 until 2016.
All yours, Dr. Malaba. Let's applaud him right into the stage, guys, so there's no quiet moment at all. Thanks, Stefan.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for this great opportunity to meet everyone. And I would like to thank, first of all, my faculty, Stellenbosch University Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences, my division, Molecular Biology and Human Genetics, our amazing laboratory, the Immunology Research Group, and the leader, Gerard Waltzel, and then also my clinical team, the newly branded Biomedical Research Institute clinical team. A little bit of reflection on this. I think in compared to clinical medicine, research is very much a long-term game, and you only realize your failures or successes very much down the line. And I think that's where accolades and honors like this is very important to kind of remind us that we are on the right track. And even if the one study has negative findings, that's not a failed study because it does contribute to the kind of the greater knowledge base. So, thank you very much, and all the best for the great work that the SAMRC does.
One more round of applause as you just posted that photograph, Stefan. Thank you very much. That's awesome. Yeah. It's long research, but we'll eventually get that photograph. It's Congratulations, Doc. Well done. Brilliant. We are going to skip over our next award winner for none other reason than, Prof. Nseke, your video that describes what you've done is not quite ready yet. That's been a bit of the delay, so we're going to come back to you in a little while as soon as we have that. We'd hate for you to have you to come up and not have your accolades portrayed properly. So we're going to move into our gold awards now. Maybe as an introduction to that, Nikola Tesla, another great scientist, was one of science's unsung heroes. He arrived in America from Serbia in 1884 and quickly went to work for Thomas Edison, making some key breakthroughs in radio, robotics, and electricity, some of which Edison took credit for. Apparently, Tesla really invented the light bulb, not Edison, but so be the case. But he wasn't just compulsive in his scientific quest. He probably had obsessive-compulsive disorder as well, refusing to touch anything, even the slightest bit of dirt, be it on hair, be it on earrings, whatever the case is. In addition, he became obsessed with the number 3, apparently, walking around a building 3 times before entering it, and at each meal he would use exactly 18 napkins to polish the utensils until they sparkled. Remember those good old days when we had utensils at meal times at functions like these? We don't. Dinner is coming soon, but first, our gold awards. Gold medals are awarded annually to established senior scientists who have made seminal scientific contributions that have impacted on the health of people, especially those living in developing countries. And the first of our gold award winners goes to Professor Karen Sliba.
Karen Silwa is a cardiologist, professor, and director at the Hatta Institute for Cardiovascular Research in Africa at the University of Cape Town, which was formerly known as the MRC Inter-University Cape Heart, and funded by the SAMRC. She is also director of the newly established Cape Heart Institute and leads several research groups. She is vastly experienced in designing and leading cardiovascular disease (CVD) studies in various healthcare environments in Africa, and has devised innovative strategies to raise funds through numerous sources at a time when very limited funding was available for NCD's research. Her seminal Heart of Soweto study, reporting on the prevalence, presentation, and management of cardiac disease in an urban African population, was published in The Lancet in 2008, which led to more than 25,000 publications. It described, for example, the impact of HIV/AIDS on CVD, the prevalence of rheumatic heart disease diagnosed in adulthood, and the spectrum of conditions leading to heart failure, amongst others. Under the umbrella of the Heart of Africa Studies, cardiovascular population studies have been expanded to other African countries. She has designed and implemented several innovative research programs and has leveraged funding for these projects. All cohort studies incorporate biological variables interlinked with socio-demographic parameters and the impact on health outcomes. She leads a large international registry on peripartum cardiomyopathy, funded by the European Cardiac Society and known for her research in the area of cardiac disease in the peripartum period, which has led to more than 20 publications in that field and many roles and memberships in a number of prestigious journals. Not only does her work speak for itself, she has awards and accolades to back it up. In 2019, she was awarded the Jeffrey Rose Award from the European Society of Cardiology, and in 2017, she received an honorary doctorate from the University Diderot-Sorbonne, Paris, France. This is the highest distinction awarded by French universities as recognition for research and global engagement, which is awarded by the French University Research Board and approved by the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs. She also has the German Cardiac Society Paul Morowitz Award under her name for exceptional cardiovascular research. This distinguished award is for exceptional research in cardiology and cardiothoracic surgery in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. She also holds fellowships from the American College of Cardiology and the European Society of Cardiology.
Professor Carmen Sliwa. Am I saying that right, by the way? Wonderful. One more round of applause. She steps up to the mic. Congratulations.
Good evening. First, I'm really honored that I'm receiving the award, but I'm also very pleased. Today I got the Sisonke vaccine this morning at 10 o'clock. So it's actually a perfect moment to stand here and to celebrate this beautiful day. I want to reflect a moment. So I was thinking, why am I actually standing here? Because what makes a good researcher? And I think most researchers are born with an inquisitive mind, but that's not enough. There are some people who have that. You need an enabling environment. So I was thinking, what did I had? I had a kindergarten teacher, so I was accepting there was an unruly child. I had parents who said, oh my God, who is that? So shall let me do my thing. I had teachers who didn't give up on me because I was really not an easy kid at school. Then I took a gap year, did all sorts of things, and at university, and I was still rather chaotic. And then I had great research environment at WITS, I must really say so, which taught me how you not give up, how you pursue your ideas, how you work in a team, extremely important as a researcher nowadays. Then I had extremely welcoming colleagues at the University of Cape Town. And then I expanded my research into Africa, and that was really my great pleasure to have all the people I work with and form networks, and it survived the COVID pandemic and that we couldn't see each other. We are sad about it, but the strong research relationships continued, and I'm really glad that we hopefully see all each other again. But there was something else, and I would in particular like to thank two people. So one was Otile Maslungu. She's actually the domestic helper at my house, and she's still with us. And for 30 years, she looked after my children. She was always there. She is super reliable. Because with two doctors doing a PhD, doing night calls, and sometimes you're just on call. You know someone is ill and you have to go, and I knew she would always be there. Without her, I wouldn't be standing here. And then my husband. I don't think I ever thanked you, Uli, officially for being next to me. So I'm married for 30 years to Dr. Ulrich Hähnle, who's sitting here with me, and we had many fights, like many other couples, but we never, ever, ever had a fight who's looking after the kids and who steps in and how to share the responsibility. So thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Would it be breaking protocol if Uli came up to be in the photograph as well? Maybe? Why not? Let's invite, because this is, I mean, to what our professor was saying is it's, you know, in Africa we say it takes a village to raise a child, and your child, it sounds a bit like my eldest child, but it clearly takes a village to hone a researcher too. So Doc, if you wouldn't mind joining us on stage for the photograph, I think that would be great. Thank you so much. Uli's giving me the evil eye now. He's like, what have you made me do? Congratulations, guys. Thank you so very much. Claire, I'm so sorry. I only thought of that now. Otherwise, it would have been great to have hubby up with you too. He's probably saying, yes, I missed that. I dodged that bullet. Did you also find that unusual that Claire sort of stood and went, oh, I see my husband's here tonight? It's been that crazy, I'm sure. We're going to move on to our second gold award winner. I'm not great with names at the best of times. I know that because I actually wanted to call my daughter Paris Zita. Thought that would be a beautiful name, but my wife pointed out that paracetamol is probably not a good name to live with. So Prof, I'm hoping I'm going to get this right, but Prof Janus Paveska is our second gold award winner, gold medal award winner. This is his video, and we're going to congratulate him on stage.
Of his many titles, Professor Janusz Paweska is the head of the Center for Emerging Zoonotic and Parasitic Diseases, NICD, of the National Health Laboratory Service. He's also an associate professor at Wits University School of Pathology, Faculty of Health Sciences. As a vet, he's got expertise in the field of emerging and re-emerging zoonotic pathogens of epidemic-prone potential, including highly specialized diagnostics, aiding patient management and outbreak control measures, epidemiological studies, biosurveillance of zoonosis of public health importance. In 2008, he led the discovery of a new Old World arenavirus, named by him Lujo, during a highly fatal nosocomial outbreak in Johannesburg. First recognition of a yellow fever outbreak in Angola in 2015 prompted the implementation of massive vaccination in this country, that's contributing to its control. He's also responsible for managing the most advanced biocontainment infrastructure in the country, in Africa, building capacity for diagnostics, research and biosecurity of high consequence pathogens, including the recently emerged SARS-CoV-2. He led the South African mobile laboratory response to the Ebola epidemic in West Africa in 2015 to 2016. For weeks during Ebola crisis in Freetown, this was the only diagnostic capacity available, and it was crucial not only for rapid diagnosis and isolation of Ebola cases, but also for contact tracing, patient management and safe bureaus. It was the largest SA outbreak response on foreign soil and a part of international efforts in bringing the Ebola outbreak under control. In 2009, he was conferred a professorship title by the President of the Republic of Poland. In 2011, rector of Wrocław University of Environmental Life Sciences in Wrocław University, Poland. Then, in 2013, he received an award from the Chancellor of the University of the Witwatersrand. He's also a recipient of the award from the Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences, Wits University, in 2014, in recognition for his dedication and achievement in research. He won the first prize of the British Medical Association for Medical Book Awards 2015, of contribution of 2 chapters, awarded Honor Medal of Wrocław University of Environmental and Life Sciences in 2015.
Thank you so much, Prof.
I am not infectious, don't worry. 21 days, long time ago, passed since I came back from West Africa. Anyway, just maybe on a less serious note, this is the 7th scientific SAMRC award, and 7 is very lucky to me. I was born on 27th, 757th, on many lists. Like, for example, in a school I was 27. So this is a very, very lucky day for me too. I'm really deeply, deeply honored and humbled. Prof. Glenda and Johnny Mlangu, thank you very much for considering the application. It was successful. This is not only my achievement. I wouldn't be here with support of many individuals, many institutions, and plenty of networks I was part of. Just mention a few: Prof. Bob Swanepoel, Prof. Barry Shoup, Prof. Sabir Madi, and also, most recently, obviously, Prof. Lynn Morris. My own team, the team of special pathogens, but the current name is quite lengthy, so no wonder you struggled a little bit. It's a Center for Emerging Zoonotic and Parasitic Diseases. Was established 2 years ago after amalgamation of Special Pathogens Unit and some other units when Prof. Madi started as a head of NICD. He actually reshuffled a number of things. So from the kind of a unit structure, we moved to the kind of a center structure. And also many institutions, including MRC. I was very lucky to receive a very generous funding from MRC to support my research on Ebola, especially in West Africa, focusing on the molecular epidemiology, but also developing on diagnostic platforms. Also WHO, many technical groups and technical advisory groups, the Global Viral Network, the World Society of Virology. The list is quite long. But first of all, I would like to my special thanks from the bottom of my heart to my family, and especially my wife, sitting up there, Gosia. My professional career wouldn't be possible without her support. I spent, if I would just calculate the number of days or months or even years, how much I spent overseas, traveling around the world, going to different outbreaks, and actually being a part of the hunting expedition, spending quite a bit of time in African forest hunting for the Ebola reservoir hosts. Then obviously she was taking care of the family life, kids, and life is quite difficult nowadays. So to manage that is not easy. Thank you very much, Gosia. Much appreciated. Thank you all, and I really honored. Thank you.
I think so. Gosia, would you mind coming up? We'd love to have you on stage to take that photograph. Did you love that? I love that sort of slip. It was actually so accurate. My love, my wife, my life. I love that. And it really is my life. So I think it's wonderful. Won't you give Gosia a big round of applause? Wonderful. And while our professor's having his photograph taken, I do need to let you know that he arrived with Gosia at 7 minutes past 5. So 7 really is a very fortunate number. And the three of us were here first. Thank you, Prof.
Just maybe to end, I think that there's no doubt that this ongoing pandemic is just evidencing the power of science. And without science, we won't be able actually to manage this dramatic ongoing problem. So the science is the solution not only for today, but also for future. Thank you very much.
Well said, Professor. Thank you. Our third Gold Award winner tonight is not here in person, but will be with us virtually. It's Professor Graham Mankies. We're going to watch his video and then connect with him on Zoom. So watch your screens.
Professor Graham Mankies is an adult infectious disease physician and the second chair and deputy head of the Department of Medicine at the University of Cape Town, UCT. He holds the DSI NRF Sachi Chair in the Poverty-Related Infections and is a member of the Institute of Infectious Disease and Molecular Medicine. He also leads the clinical platform of the Wellcome Center for Infectious Disease Research in Africa at UCT. Together with his research group, Professor Menkes focuses on the diagnosis, prevention, treatment, and immune pathogenesis of conditions that affect patients with advanced HIV disease in Africa. In particular, HIV-associated TB, HIV cryptococcal meningitis, immune reconstitution inflammatory syndrome, IRIS, complications of antiretroviral therapy, and drug-resistant TB. Under his leadership, the group conducts clinical trials and observational cohort studies nesting within these translational immunology studies aimed at improving understanding of disease pathogenesis. These trials have addressed critical questions relevant to management of advanced HIV in programmatic settings. They also undertake evaluation of novel diagnostics for HIV-associated TB. An NRF B1 rated scientist, Professor Menkes is recognized as one of the leading researchers on the topic of the IRIS internationally, his main focus being TB-associated IRIS. His group has done groundbreaking research on this frequent complication of HIV treatment. As a principal investigator, he led the only 2 randomized controlled trials which demonstrated that prednisone was safe and effective as a prophylaxis for TB IRIS in high-risk TB patients starting antiretrovirals. Due to his notable experience and extensive research, he's no stranger to the science red carpet. He has won several prestigious awards. In 2013 alone, he won the SAMRC Young Scientist Award and the EDCTP Award for Rising Star African Scientist. In 2014-15, he was a finalist for the National Science and Technology Forum T.W. Kambule Award. He was elected member of the Academy of Science of South Africa and fellow of the University of Cape Town in 2015 and 2017 respectively.
Ladies and gentlemen, Graham is with us on Zoom, so he can hear you. Won't you give him a big round of applause? Graham, great to be with you virtually. The virtual stage is yours.
Thank you, Michael. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. Loud and clear. Graham, you're not on mute, which is wonderful.
I'm not sure whether I'm being heard.
JB, maybe? Yep.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So I would firstly like to say a big thank you to the Medical Research Council. It's really a great honor this recognition and this award this evening. To receive it from an organization that has done so much for advancing medical knowledge in South Africa and putting medical science of South Africa on the map globally. I also want to thank Glenda for officially conferring the accolade of being a medical nerd on all of us receiving awards this evening. There's 6 thank yous that I want to say, and the first thank you goes out to each and every one of the participants in our research. As it was highlighted in the video clip, our research group focuses on conditions that affect people with advanced HIV, and we enroll people in our studies who are attending clinics or admitted to hospital, often critically ill with these conditions, and ask them to participate in our research. And I'm extremely grateful for their participation, for the trust and the confidence that they place in our research group to participate in those studies. And without them, the advances that we've made would not have been possible. And they've really helped to contribute to advancing knowledge in these conditions that will benefit future patients. The second thank yous that I wanted to say was to all members of the various research teams that I've worked with, the counselors, the nurses, the pharmacists, the doctors, administrators, data capturers, support staff, for their tireless efforts to ensure high quality research, but also to ensure that the participants in the studies are well looked after, that they get a good explanation about their condition, about the research and why we're doing it, that their questions are always answered, and that good medical care is taken of them at the time that they need medical care, as well as participating in the research. And I think the reflection of this is that, we've had very good retention rates in all of our studies, over 90%. and that reflects the work of the teams that I've worked with. Then to thank the many colleagues that I've worked with at UCT and collaborators internationally, that sharing expertise, synergizing expertise in collaborative research has been central to all of the work that I've done, and that's really enhanced the research and enriched the research. The collaborations with many colleagues, too many to mention individually. I also want to thank colleagues in the provincial health services. As you can imagine, all of our research is done within the context of the provision of medical care for these patients. And I've had huge support from colleagues in provincial and city health services, many of whom have participated in the research as co-investigators or just supported it in many ways. And then to express my gratitude to the funders of the research, the Wellcome Trust, the EDCTP, the Medical Research Council, the National Research Foundation, NIH, and the Gates Foundation. And then finally, to say a big thank you to my family and particularly my wife, Cecile, for being a huge support of my research and really enabling me to spend many hours focused on research, even after hours, and always being supportive of the work that I've done. I wanted to close off by saying a few words about the focus of our research, which, as I said, is the conditions affecting patients with advanced HIV. We know that there are about 8 million people living with HIV in South Africa today. And while the majority of these people have access to antiretroviral therapy, we still know that there are an unacceptable number of people requiring admission to hospital and dying of complication of advanced HIV. And there are a number of reasons for this: late HIV diagnosis, late initiation of ART, adherence problems, and disengagement from care. And then patients become infected with conditions like severe TB or other opportunistic infections. And it's this reality and the questions that arise and the challenges that are posed by this reality that will really continue to underpin the research that our group does, evaluating strategies to make antiretroviral therapy more accessible and more tolerable for patients, so that we can ensure that patients get onto ART and stay on ART lifelong. But also to investigate and explore novel approaches to the diagnosis, prevention, and management of severe TB and opportunistic infections, so that we can improve outcomes for patients affected by these conditions. And I would really urge, even in the face of the COVID epidemic that's affecting our globe terribly, that these issues remain central in terms of the focus of research, or one of the central areas of the focus of research in South Africa going forward, because this is going to be a problem that will be with us for many decades to come, and we need to find solutions that will help to improve outcomes for these patients. So once again, thank you very much for this award, and I'm really grateful to the MRC for this recognition and the awards. Thank you very much.
Great. Graham, thank you so much for joining us virtually. If you were with us in the flesh, you would be on stage. We would take a photograph of you, possibly your wife, Cecile, too. As it is, we're just going to take a screen grab of you, and we'll send that to you a little later as well. We did send the medal and the certificate to Graham, so he received that this morning by a special delivery. And so to our final Gold Award winner tonight, also joining us virtually, Professor Michelle Ramsey.
Michelle Ramsey is Professor of Human Genetics at Wits University School of Pathology and occupies the position of Director at the Sydney Brenner Institute for Molecular Bioscience, Wits University, from 2014 to present. Her research interests include African population genetic diversity and the role of genetic variants in diseases exacerbated by adverse lifestyle choices, including obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and stroke. African population genetics and how that informs our understanding of migration, admixture, and adaptation. Precision medicine approaches in an African context, developing genetic assays for monogenic traits and pharmacogenomic variants. The role of polygenic risk scores for complex diseases and transethnic transferability of models. Professor Ramsey is a recipient of the 2020 NSTF South 32 Lifetime Achievement Award. She was named winner of the 2019 DSI Distinguished Women Researcher, and in the same year, she was invited to serve on the International Commission on the Clinical Use of Human Germline Genome Editing. Over 3 decades, she has held several SAMRC research grants, attended workshops, and worked with numerous researchers from the SAMRC. The SAMRC also funded a postdoctoral fellowship in London between 1987 and 1989. She's currently principal investigator of the SAMRC Pharmacogenomics in Precision Medicine research grant for the project. Exploratory Framework for Pharmacogenomics Guided Treatment Algorithm for High Blood Pressure in Black Africans.
Michelle, I hope you can hear that, but you've just been applauded. There are about, I'd say, 40, 50 odd people under the marquee this afternoon, just congratulating you on your award and your accolade. The stage is yours, Michelle. We'd love to hear what you have to say tonight. The other Michelle.
Thank you very much, Michael, and good evening to everybody from Johannesburg with the thunder rumbling in the background, and really wonderful to share this event with you. It's a great honor for me to receive a gold medal from the South African Medical Research Council for over 35 years of research in the field of human genetics. My studies have focused on identifying genetic mutations for monogenic disorders like cystic fibrosis, albinism, and rare skin, eye, and muscle disorders. However, about a decade ago, I turned my attention to complex diseases and the identification of genetic contributions and gene-environment interactions that make people more susceptible to the diseases of lifestyle. The MRC actually funded my postdoctoral fellowship in London in the late 1980s and has supported my students and research projects over many decades. More recently, also providing funding for pharmacogenomic studies to promote the clinical application of precision medicine approaches in African populations. My primary role at this stage of my career is really threefold. I'm a shepherd, a custodian, and an architect. So let me explain. First of all, as a shepherd, I guide research groups in genomic studies and publications in high-impact journals, as well as postgraduate students through to graduation. I love my role as supervisor and mentor, not only at WITS, but across several African countries. Second, as custodian, I'm responsible for large cohorts with rich data, including genomic data, and I spend much of my time thinking about being responsible about data and sample sharing, while contributing to the open science movement and being compliant with the laws around the protection of personal information. But the role that I enjoy most is the third, being an architect, a designer of new studies and new cohorts for specific research purposes, while also building an enabling environment for research and researchers at WITS. It's an enormous privilege at this stage of my career to focus my energies on research. I'm able to do this because of the South African Research Chair Initiative and because WITS University supports the research institute that I direct. There could be no better place than the WITS Sydney Brenner Institute for Molecular Bioscience, or better time to be exploring the vast genetic diversity in the genomes of Africans and to begin to uncover the impact of this genetic variation on health and disease. I'm also fortunate to have a very supportive family. They've tolerated all the times that I've been away from home, and they celebrate my successes, large and small. So with this, I'd like to thank the MRC for recognizing my work that I've done together with colleagues, collaborators, students, and postdocs over several decades, worthy of an MRC Gold Medal. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. We spoke a little earlier this morning. Is there any chance you have your medal with you? Just to show our audience that you did get a medal this morning. Yes, there is. Okay. Thank you so much, Michelle. I really appreciate that. There you go. Well, we can kind of see it. Yes, that's there it is, a gold medal. Congratulations, Michelle. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. A custodian, a shepherd, and an architect. Sounds a bit like Tony Stark all in one, which is wonderful. But Michelle, thank you so very, very much. We are at this point actually going to dial back for a moment, not going backwards, but dial back to our silver award now. Prof. Mpiko Ntseke is also joining us virtually. We now have his video on hand. We'd love to play that for you and then recognize his achievements in the past years. Thank you, Prof.
A cardiologist by profession, Professor Mpiko Ntseke wears many hats at different times. He's the chair of cardiology at the University of Cape Town. He's head of cardiology services at the Groote Schuur Hospital and director at the Mayosi Research Collaborative. He also holds the position of vice president of the South African Heart Association, secretary general of the South Pan-African Society of Cardiology, and chair of the South African Heart Registries. His current areas of active research include pericardial disease with a focus on TB pericarditis, HIV-associated cardiovascular disease, therapeutic interventions for rheumatic heart disease, novel therapeutics for heart failure, strategies for management of acute and chronic ischemic heart disease and dilated cardiomyopathy. As a National Research Foundation NRF-rated researcher, Professor Ntseke has received numerous awards in recognition of his outstanding research work. These include, but are not limited to, the Don Kennedy Emerging Research Award in 2004, the Trout Research Fellowship Award, McMaster University in 2006, Edith Sorrell Clinical Research Fellowship from 2009 to 2011, Tutuka NRF Research Fellowship Award in 2012, Fellow of American College of Cardiology in 2013, Member of Academy of Science of South Africa, Member of Sigma XI 2020. Professor Ntseke has a well-established publication track record, including several book chapters, numerous peer-reviewed articles in high-impact journals such as Circulation, Nature Cardiology Reviews, and the European Heart Journal. He's a regular reviewer for several prestigious journals, also serves as an editorial board member for a few. He's a frequent speaker at local international congresses and society meetings.
Once again, Prof, joining us on Zoom. You've just had a wonderful applause from our live audience here at the SAMRC. We've been served some delicious canapes, which probably would be a cause for atherosclerosis, so you're probably glad you're not here with us this evening. You are with us online, though. We'd love to hear your comments. Thank you. Prof, over to you.
Thanks, Michael. Greetings to all of you, all protocols observed. I'd like to start out by thanking the MRC for this wonderful honor. And of course, its long-standing support for research in South Africa and researchers in South Africa. Although it is me in the spotlight today, I'm under no illusion that this award is courtesy of my work alone. I think that's been a running theme throughout what we've heard today. Throughout my journey to date, first as a clinician, then as a scientist, and then as a clinician scientist, I've been incredibly fortunate to be surrounded and supported by colleagues and collaborators and many levels of cadres who've been passionate about their work and always bring a great deal of energy, enthusiasm to what they do, and have really believed in our collective potential to make a big difference and an impact. And for that, I have been incredibly grateful. These people have included the trailblazing Impi warriors who dared to conduct a Pan-African trial where and when no one else would do it and where nobody thought it was possible. The Mayosi Research Group, who put neglected diseases of the heart on the research map. The dedicated staff at the cardiac clinic, some of who you saw in that video at Groote Schuur Hospital. And the wonderful people I've had to work with at several of the organizations that I've been privileged enough to serve in one or other capacity. At this point, I'd like to make special mention of Sister Veronica Francis, who succumbed to COVID-19 just last month after 15 years of tremendous service as our clinical research manager and great support for me during my PhD years and since. She will be sorely missed, and throughout the country and continent where she was much loved and much appreciated. Next, I'd like to say that I am extremely grateful to the late Professor Bongani Mayosi for believing in me, for encouraging me to pursue this career, and for mentoring me at critical stages of my journey. Even in his absence, he remains my guiding light and inspiration to continuously strive to use my gifts in whatever way I can in service to community, country, and the continent. Long live the spirit of Bongani Mayosi, long live. And last, and by no means least, I would like to say a special word of thanks to my amazing wife, Kihilwe, who has been my rock of Gibraltar since I started along this journey as an intern 20 years ago, and without who I hesitate to contemplate what my life would look like today. Besides your unshakable love, thank you for keeping me grounded and grateful, and for your many years of selfless sacrifice and support. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Nseke. I've got to say, there's not been one researcher that's not said thank you and a heartfelt thank you to your families, and I think that's amazing. I also take note, and I'm going to go home and tell my wife, you complain about me traveling. If I was a researcher, you want to know how rough life would have been then, So, guys, thank you for that. It was probably around 30 years ago that Madiba was invited to a presidential banquet at Grote Skuur, the then President de Klerk's residence, and he was seated next to Foreign Minister at the time, Pik Botha, and it was one of those banquets with gold utensils. We talked about Nikola Tesla and utensils earlier, and he sat down next to Pik Botha and as a joke said, "I think I'm going to take these utensils home with me." To which Pik Botha said, "I know what you mean, I already have a set in my pocket." True story, a little later, Madiba stands up and he's asked to give a speech, and in true Madiba style and flair, he says, "Before I speak to you, I'd like to show you a little magic trick. I'm going to take this gold knife, I'm going to put it into my pocket, I'm going to say abracadabra, and it's going to appear in Pik Botha's pocket." True story, I don't know what happened after that. It's been rated as classified, but I tell you that story because of something Prof. Paveska said before he left the stage. And it was really something to this, that science is not magic, that in a pandemic like we're in now, it's good, rigorous science that does save lives. And as a recipient of the vaccine, I took that vaccine not hoping that it would work, but knowing it would work, knowing it was 85% effective against severe COVID, knowing that it was 100% effective against death, because there's no magic in it. There is good science. And again, I just want to applaud you guys and say thank you for your life-saving research. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we get on to our Platinum Awards. There are 2 Platinum Awards and 2 Presidential Awards, and then it's dinner time. On the Platinum Awards, only 2 of these awards are awarded to scientists each year for a lifetime of outstanding endeavors in the field of health. The 2020 Platinum Medal will go to 2 trailblazers, and to announce those very special awards, I'm going to call once again on stage Professor Glenda Gray.
So I'm going to announce Professor Linda Gale first. She's a partner in crime, a comrade in arms, a researcher of many years, and colleague and dear friend, and truly deserving of this Platinum Award. We give only 2 Platinum Awards each year, and so these go to the true trailblazers, the leaders, the people that have shown their mettle all these years and have shown how great it is to do science. And so I really want to acknowledge you, Linda Gale. It's just wonderful to give you this award and to be here and see you in person and to be able to celebrate all the work that you've done. For those that you don't know, Linda Gale and I co-led the ensemble study in South Africa, which contributed about 16% of the total population to the ensemble study. The data that we presented was enough to get the EUA for the trial in the FDA. We showed that the vaccine in South Africa protects against hospitalization and death, and that the data that we have here is robust. So it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be here. I also want to thank her for agreeing to be a partner in rolling out this gigantic trial that we have to do. Linda Gale, without flinching, agreed to participate and be a co-lead in a program that will deliver 500,000 add 26 doses to healthcare workers across the country in the next 12 weeks. Together, we've drunk wine, had sleepless nights, and cried often about lots of things that have happened in the last couple of weeks. But I just want to acknowledge her relentless spirit, her great humanity, and her great compassion for mankind. So thank you very much, LGB. Get the husband, Robin.
Linda Gale Becker is a professor of medicine at the University of Cape Town and holds the positions of Chief Research Officer at the Desmond Tutu Health Foundation and the Director of the Desmond Tutu HIV Center. Professor Becker is an infectious disease specialist with a keen interest in HIV, TB, and related diseases, with a focus on adolescent health, women's health, and HIV prevention. Her doctoral work focused on the host response to TB both with and in the absence of HIV co-infection. Subsequently, her research interests have expanded to include programmatic and health service research around antiretroviral rollout and TB integration, prevention of HIV in women, youth, and men who have sex with men. She's passionate about community development and engagement. Some of her projects have included community-based HIV treatment, peer-led community education, mobile health services to the neediest populations. Since the advent of COVID-19, Professor Becker has been in the front line of the fight against the pandemic, which saw her involved in many vaccine trials, including the Johnson & Johnson as co-principal investigator. The vaccine proved to offer 50% protection against moderate to severe COVID-19 infections in South Africa. In 2014, she received the UCT Ellen Pfeiffer Research Award, which she shared with Professor Robin Hood, given in recognition of outstanding welfare-related research. In the same year, she received the UCT Ralph Kirsch Golden Pen Award, which is presented to authors of an SAMJ paper that has garnered the most citations over 2 years following publication. Other accolades include, in 2016, Fellowship in Art and Science of Medicine Award for Medicine, South African Medical Association Merit Award, 2018 ASA Science for Society Gold Medal Award, Desmond Tutu Award for HIV Prevention and Human Rights presented at the HIV R4P Conference 2018. In 2020, she was accepted to ASAF as a fellow. Then in 2020 again, she was accepted as a fellow College of Fellows at the University of Cape Town.
Thank you. And I must say, just, Glenda, absolute partner in crime. I have, we can't even begin to say what we've got up to, but thank you so much. I'm so honored. Thank you to the board of the SAMRC. This is an incredible, just an incredible recognition, and I am very humbled and very thankful. Especially because I feel quite fraudulent, because I have to tell you, and those of you who are maybe contemplating research as a career, it has been the most amazing roller coaster ride. Since this, Michael, this is a platinum for lifetime achievement. I'm not sure I'm ready to acknowledge that it's a lifetime. And you described us as nerdy researchers. I like to think of us as rather cool researchers, actually. But, as I look back on this lifetime, it has been amazing and just so much excitement and fun and just so much joy in doing the journey. And so to actually receive recognition for it at the same time feels like a true bonus on top of already so much to be grateful for. So as others have done, I want to start by first acknowledging the HIV field network, the world in which we move. We faced a pandemic in this country probably 25 years ago, and had an amazing sense, again, as we felt in this last year, of devastation, facing, death and lack of answers to really difficult questions. And I really think of this community now as much as my family, because we've walked this road together, and it's been an extraordinary journey. So around the world, amazing colleagues, people some who have gone on to to the life hereafter, but many who've touched my life with just amazing mentorship. And so I want to acknowledge that. I want to acknowledge the research community here, and we're just so grateful to be part of amazing colleagues, awesome colleagues, who deposit into our lives because they really have the passion for humanity. So I think, that needs to be acknowledged. And like Graham, I think we're just so enriched to work here in South Africa, where the spirit of Ubuntu, the spirit of endeavor, the spirit of wanting to find solutions to some of the most incredible challenges, I think just, really maneuvers us forward and pushes us forward with enthusiasm to partner to find those solutions. And that has been an extraordinary part of this journey for me. And then as I move in my concentric circles, the reason I think I am where I am today, I do want to pay homage to my family, and in particular, my late father, who passed last year. But his adage to me was, if you can think it, you can do it. And that has been extraordinary because, basically I have a very vivid imagination. And so whatever I think of, I, absolutely set my targets to go. And I know that I have a partner in crime with Glenda. We have the same approach, that if you think you can do it, you just go out there and do it and don't let anybody stop you. And I want to pay huge tribute to people who let me go on and do it. And and not only did not hold me back, but actually allowed it. And in that respect, I want to pay a huge tribute to the Desmond Tutu HIV Center and Foundation. They are my family too, somewhat 350 odd people, but awesome people who have said our passion for humanity drives what we do. And so every single one of those individuals. But head of that, and my other partner in crime, is somebody who's just kind of looked the other way when I've had the most crazy ideas and thought that I needed to do it. Fell in love with that man, 22 years ago. And he has allowed me and walked this journey with me. So I just want to thank Robin Wood, who in himself, he also is a recipient of a Platinum Award and is an extraordinary scientist. And it's been fantastic to do this journey with him. But I want to thank our son, our shared offspring, who has put up with, years of conversations about TB and HIV under all sorts of circumstances. The poor kid, he's 19 years old now, and is truly the apple of my eye, and wonderful. I want to say a big shout out, Glenda, you two have raised 3 beautiful kids, women who are contemplating this. I pay a huge tribute to you. That juggle of family and career is never an easy one. And so, huge tribute to others who've done this and shown the way. And my role now, I think, is to pay that forward and to really lift other women to be able to do this as well. So with huge thanks for this recognition, and huge tribute to the contribution that South Africa makes. I'm very proud to be part of this community. I think we are a small country, not a huge population, but we make an indelible mark on the world, and I'm very proud to be part of this. So thank you again for this recognition. And well done to all of the winners this evening. What I felt this evening was, gee, I wish I was doing that too. And that looks so exciting. I wish I was doing that research. So thank you for sharing your terrific work, and congratulations to all the recipients. Thank you so much. And so I said, should I help myself to my present?
So I guess it's time now to get Heather Zar. Is Heather Zar online? Heather Zar is a pediatrician like me. She was always ahead of me at medical school and was always ahead of me academically as well. And so it's quite fitting to give her this award. Heather, you've done remarkable work. I've followed you all your life, and you've been an exceptional scientist, an exceptional pediatrician. You have such a good feel of humanity, and the work that you've done in children, in lung disease, in asthma, and your commitment to improving the health of children, is unprecedented. So, are we going to show her on the screen? I don't want to see myself all the time. Heather, are you there? Ground control.
Yeah.
Heather Zar is Professor and Chair within the Department of Pediatrics and Child Health at Red Cross Children's Hospital and also Director of the SAMRC's Unit on Child and Adolescent Health, one of the organization's extramural research units housed at the University of Cape Town since 2015. Her work focused on childhood pneumonia, TB, asthma, and HIV-associated disease has had global impact on strategies for diagnosis, prevention, and treatment. She's established a novel African birth cohort studies, the Drakenstein Child Health Study, to investigate the early life determinants of child health. An NRF A1 rated scientist, she's developed a strong clinical translational research program, establishing several clinical research sites, building a core clinical research facility, attracting substantial funding from international grant agencies, and mentoring several postgraduate students. A key advocate for child health in Africa and globally, she served as president of the Pan-African Thoracic Society, past president of the Forum of International Respiratory Societies, and in an advisory capacity to the World Health Organization and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Professor Zar has many accolades under her name. To mention a few, she received the World Lung Health Award from the American Thoracic Society in 2014, the L'Oreal UNESCO for Women in Science Laureate for Africa Arabia in 2018, and the President's Award from the International Congress in Pediatric Pulmonology in 2019 for a lifetime of seminal contributions that will impact generations to come, and for embodying a role model for the pediatric pulmonary community worldwide. She has and continues to mentor many postgraduate students, PhD and postdocs, most of whom are funded by the SAMRC's Research Capacity Development Programs.
Thank you so much. Is the sound working?
King.
Great, thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much to the SAMRC for this award. This award really reflects the work of so many people. Thank you to my many incredible students, my mentors, the many collaborators we have across South Africa, and the world. Our funders, the MRC, has been a really core source of support, including funding a MRC unit on child and adolescent health, the NRF locally, and internationally, the Gates Foundation, the NIH, Wellcome Trust, EDCTP, and others. Thank you to the support from the institutions at which we work. So Red Cross Children's Hospital, the Department of Pediatrics and Child Health, the Faculty of Health Sciences at UCT and UCT more broadly, Paarl Hospital, Doran and Ginza Hospital, some of the clinics we work in, the provincial and city the health departments, who have recognized the value of some of the research and have really created the enabling environments that have enabled us to do this. And as others have said, a huge thank you to the amazing teams that I work with. Nurses, doctors, counselors, admin support, laboratory scientists, data scientists. Their commitment to child health is extraordinary and even more heightened through the last year of COVID and all the challenges. Thank you too to all the children, the mothers, the families who participate in our studies and who entrust us with your health. We hope that we have impacted in a good way to strengthen your health and to do things better for you and your children. We have learned such an enormous amount from our participants and from our families. And to my own family, my late grandmother, Ethel, who was a woman way ahead of her time and showed incredible strength. To my parents, who instilled a real sense of education, of the value of education and of social justice. My siblings and my extended family, where I first really developed a love for children. And then, as others have also said, my core family. My husband, Dan Stein, who is just such an inspiring example and who has helped me to shape my own thinking and influenced my research in many ways. To our children, Gabi, Joshua, and Sarah, I know it hasn't always been easy. Thank you for allowing me the time and the space for this work and for your unconditional love and support. You are my core. Thank you for reminding me each day about what is really important. I've been fortunate to work in child health, an area of crucial concern for all of us. Millions of children continue to die unnecessarily each year, and many more suffer poor health. And this is especially important in South Africa and other low middle income countries where children account for anything from a third or more of the population. But child health also sets the trajectory for adult health, as exemplified by the work we're doing in our birth cohort study. So it is key for the future well-being and prosperity of nations. As Nelson Mandela said, there is no keener revelation of a society than the way in which it treats its children. So it's been an extraordinary journey with many, many people and many to say thank you to that have allowed us to push the boundaries of knowledge and science, striving to ensure that children not only survive, but reach their full potential and fully thrive. Thank you again.
The MC has to say something.
Oh, don't have to say anything, just want to say thank you to Heather once again and to Linda Gale. And let's give our Platinum Award winners another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. I think that is superb. And Linda Gale, I've got to say, I mean, you know that you are the furthest thing from a nerdy researcher. You are so cool, and you know I'm your biggest fan. In fact, I'm trying to get funding for a research study from Glenda, from the MRC, to try and figure out where you get your energy from and your drive and your passion. In fact, both of you would be great to get that secret. Little story for you before I hand over to you, Glenda. In October of 1971, Disney World had its grand opening in Florida. Walt Disney himself had passed away 5 years before that. And at this big opening, someone leaned over to Mrs. Disney and said, "Isn't it a shame that Walt couldn't be here to see all of this?" To which Mrs. Disney famously said, "Sir, Walt did see this. That's why it's here." And I love that story because it speaks to the power of vision. And what does Walt Disney have to do with great scientists? Well, like Walt Disney, great scientists have to be a little bit crazy to believe in the things that other people can't even imagine or can't even see to get to where we are today. So guys, thank you so much for being like Walt Disney. We have two more Walt Disney-like characters to award tonight. Don't know how we're going to make that connection, Glenda, sorry. But presidential awards, they're awarded to scientists who've made exceptional lifelong contributions to medical research and to public health. And once again, Glenda, it's over to you to make that announcement.
So it's true. It's easy to link Walt Disney to the presidential awards because it's the power of vision. And tonight, we always come to the end of the program where we actually acknowledge the true power of vision in our country and acknowledge the people that see the world not just as scientists, not just as doctors, not just as clinicians, but see the world as it should be and orchestrate a program to make that realizable. And so the first one I want to acknowledge is Professor Mark Sateche. And you're not getting this award just because you managed me as the chair of the board, Mike. He was given a huge task to manage and control me, which he did very well. But this award goes beyond that. It goes to a true leader of science and of medical science in the country. Mark, if you don't know, is the professor and head of nuclear medicine at the University of Pretoria and Steve Biko Academic Hospital. He's also the CEO and head of the main nuclear medicine research infrastructure. He's an internationally renowned researcher, and he has a strong focus area in research, and he's won many as prestigious awards, which I'm not even going to talk about. But what's very important about Mark is not just his service to science, is his service to the people and the doctors in the country. As the chair of the MRC, he led the MRC post-revitalization into the area that it is now. He also was the president of the College of Medicine and directed the college to make sure that the people that who specialize in South Africa are the finest in the world. He has many, many awards and many, many accolades. And I just want to acknowledge he's a true leader in health in this country. And his work goes beyond just care research. It goes to understanding what it takes to be a leader in health in this country. So I want to acknowledge you, Mark, and it's a real pleasure to give you this award tonight.
Mike Sateche is professor and head of nuclear medicine at the University of Pretoria and Steve Biko Academic Hospital. He also holds the position of CEO, head of the main nuclear medicine research infrastructure, NUMERI. An internationally acclaimed researcher, Professor Sateche has a strong research focus in areas of theranostics, targeted radionuclide therapy, new radiopharmaceuticals, infection imaging, PET-CT. As a result, he has received various prestigious awards for his research in the field of nuclear medicine and has received a B rating from the National Research Foundation, NRF. His numerous publications have had a significant impact in the field of nuclear medicine, both locally and abroad. He is the former board chairperson of the South African Medical Research Council for 6 years, 2014 to 2019, and immediate past president of the Colleges of Medicine of South Africa. He is a member of the Academy of Science of South Africa and winner of the Research Excellence Award at the inaugural South African Health Excellence Awards. Professor Sateche was the first winner of the late Ralph Kirscher Golden Pen Award and a recipient of the Fellowship in Art and Science of Medicine Award, SAMRC Award. He was the winner of the Department of Science and Innovation Award to host the 300 million main nuclear medicine research infrastructure facility in South Africa, which he is now the CEO. On the international front, he is the editor-in-chief of Seminars in Nuclear Medicine, the most important teaching review journal in nuclear medicine. Professor Sateche has won several international Best Presentation Awards on radionuclide therapy in prostate cancer, USA, EU, Brazil, India, and China. He is the president-elect of the World Association of Radiopharmaceuticals and Molecular Therapy.
Glenda, thank you so kindly for this kind introduction and for this award. I have to say, unlike the others, my wife has warned me that if you get the presidential award, you must go with a paper. It means you're at a stage where you might forget things. So you have to start reading now. So really, to the board chair, Johnny Mahlangu, to the president, Glenda, I really am humbled, and to the Medical Research Council community at large. Really, this is an emotional thing for me. It's really, MRC has been my home, and I like MRC, and really, I'm humbled, really, because this is probably the greatest honor I've received, and really, it says a lot, because if you are with people that knows you well, and they still can award you something, it means there is something in it. And we have to realize and see that there are awards, and you can stay with people, but they can see your value as 200 rands. But if somebody can see your value perhaps as 2 billion or at continuum, it means a world to me. And importantly, for this honor, Glenda, it means to receive an award under your presidency. It's very important in a sense that you are a beacon of hope and a beacon of excellence, and that really will be an award that one would crave for. But of course, to also get this award, it means to be in the cream of this country, which is something that says a lot to me about how you really view what one has been doing in this country. But acknowledgements and these awards are an important thing, and to the MRC community at large, I really have to say that this investment, in my case, it means this award is not mine only, but it is the award that belongs to my family, to my department and group, friends, and importantly, to those that are from the historically disadvantaged background and institution. Because I would imagine with this award, it means those that are perhaps from those type of backgrounds can see themselves and resemble myself and me and perhaps work harder. And I know those people are actually much more talented than one is, and they definitely will win such awards. And that is what you are doing in me, and I really think, I think that is a great thing. I do suspect that this honor bears testimony to the fact that despite all the challenges, you are saying that striving for continuous improvement rather than perfection will contribute to societal development. And that's a very important message. It makes one to reflect, and I think you are saying to one to say that the MRC says to you that you must strive to be a vanguard to ensure that there is long-term impact on our people and to have sustainable successes. The board, yourself, under the chair of Johnny, and yourself and the dynamic MRC, Glenda, you are at the forefront of discovering a scientific breakthrough. But clearly, not only that, you translate it into large science and global practice. You really have upscaled this service to lots of millions, and this scientific knowledge really says a lot. And therefore, like all the other recipients have said, to have an award from such a leading institution, it's really humbling. It is something that is important. Clearly, of course, to win such awards, it can't be that you have done it alone. You must have had people that have supported you, involvement in various contributors and collaborators. And one would want to thank the entire board that one has worked with, and really the entire EMC and the community of MRC, and of course the guys at the colleges of medicine, University of Pretoria, and the nuclear medicine research infrastructure that one is now heading, and the various contributors at the International Atomic Energy Agency. It really is something that people have done well, but as you would know that in the board, there's two of us that had served for 9 years. It's Trish and myself. As you know, Trish has worked very well with us, but I want to acknowledge her for really her contribution to the audit and risk that really she has made and shaped us into the MRC to be what we are. And really, of course, that is not to say the other board members, every single one member of them was really spectacular, but Trish has done an excellent thing. And of course, the colleges of medicine, as you have said, Madam President, really to make sure that it is the home for all scientists and specialists so that we can offer solutions for HR in this country. And of course, I want to thank my teachers, mentors, and of course, it will be negligent to not importantly thank my family, my late parents who shaped me to focus on people and patients' outcome, meaning that we are because of others. But of course, my loving wife, Rachel, who has been a pillar of my strength and who has made me to be what I am. I've been married and I've been with Rachel for 27 years. It's a long time, and I can say that mostly our two boys, Chabi and Simo, had been largely raised by her, despite her being an orthodontist, but she actually neglected her career in favor of the two boys, who are, one is already a doctor and one is doing medicine. They will soon be my collaborators, and I have to thank Rachel for that, and Glenda again, and the MRC at large. Thank you so kindly.
is another visionary in this room tonight, and that other visionary and person that's shaped a lot of the way we see science and how we see evidence in South Africa is Professor Jimmy Volmink. Now, he is the Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences at Stellenbosch University, but his impact and impetus goes so much more further than being the Dean of Stellenbosch University. He developed the discipline in South Africa of using rigorous methods to evaluate healthcare interventions that looked at addressing problems that affected people, poor people in low and middle income countries. He was vigilant and fastidious in promoting evidence-based decision making and established the Cochrane Centre in South Africa, and the Cochrane Centre became the genesis of evidence-based medicine in Africa. And the program he led has led to the work that we do in South Africa and Africa as critical to address the issue of evidence. Not only is he fastidious around evidence, he also has understood the importance of addressing health inequities and the social inequalities of health. And he has spent many years being an advocate to address the issues of health and social inequalities. Not only did he do that, not only is he a great scientist and a leader in understanding the issues of public health, but he also has understood the importance of research capacity development and training and mentorship. And for this, he will always be remembered at Stellenbosch University at the MRC. And so it's with great delight and with great pleasure that we acknowledge your work that you've done in this country, the work that you've done and your contributions to the continent and to the globe in your pursuit of the importance of evidence-based medicine. So Jimmy, it's a great pleasure to also bestow on you the President's Award tonight. Thank you.
Professor Volmink is the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences and Professor in the Department of Global Health at Stellenbosch University. His areas of expertise are clinical epidemiology and evidence-based medicine, with special contributions during a career extending over more than 3 decades, including developing and using rigorous methods to evaluate healthcare interventions, which are addressing health problems affecting people living in low and middle income countries, promoting evidence-based decision-making at local, national, and global levels through knowledge translational efforts, advocacy to address health and social inequalities, building research capacity through training and mentorship. His extensive research work has earned him countless accolades, including being an elected member of the Academy of Science of South Africa and a Fellow of the Royal College of Physicians, Edinburgh. He has received the Leverhulme Medal for Distinguished Contribution from the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine, UK. Other recognitions include Award for Contributions for Evidence-Based Healthcare in Africa from the SAMRC, Honorary Doctorate in February 2021 by KU Leuven, Belgium, in recognition of his work to promote human dignity and his contribution to science and practice to improve health and well-being. Stellenbosch University has recognized his contributions with a Rector's Award for General Performance 3 times, in 2013, 2014 and 2015. Most recently in 2020 with a Lifetime Chancellor's Award for Sustained Excellent Career Performance. Professor Volmink has a long history of association with the SAMRC, dating back to 1990 when he was appointed as Specialist Scientist at the then Centre for Epidemiological Research in Southern Africa. After completing his DPhil in Oxford, he was invited by the SAMRC to take up the role of Founding Director of the South African Cochrane Centre, now Cochrane SA. He achieved the rank of Chief Specialist Scientist in 1998 over the course of more than 2 decades, either in full-time or part-time capacity. He continued to contribute to building and guiding the Cochrane SA team. The unit is today widely respected for the impact of its research and important contributions to evidence-based healthcare.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Really good to be here tonight. I was a bit worried when Mike and I were likened to Disney characters, and so I immediately thought of my 4-year-old grandson, with whom I've been watching The Lion King recently. According to my grandson, I am most like Rafiki in The Lion King. So there you go. That's where I fit in. But Madam President, MRC board, I'm overwhelmed by this honor, extraordinary honor, and really unexpected honor, but much appreciated. I've long known and realized that achievement is always a team effort. And it is in that spirit that I gratefully receive this award on behalf of myself, but also the many people that have contributed to my success and to my career advancement over many years. But let me just touch on very briefly 2 institutions that I think have been very important in enabling me to advance. The first is the South African Medical Research Council, an institution that will remain very close to my heart. It is the place where I first cut my teeth, as it were, as a researcher, working as a scientist in the Center for Epidemiological Research in Southern Africa. And then a few years later, the extraordinary opportunity given to me by the MRC to set up as the founding director the first Cochrane Center in Africa. And, you know, that just opened so many doors. But I think one of the things that I appreciate most about that opportunity is the ability and the support that was enabled by the MRC for me to build a team of people that could make a meaningful contribution to strengthening the health evidence ecosystem in South Africa and beyond. And the networks that have come about on the continent as a result of that. And for me to be able to sit back and see other people advance and do great things has been such a joy for me. So I want to acknowledge all of those people, and I want to acknowledge the MRC's role in that. The second institution is my current employer, Stellenbosch University. And I was recruited to Stellenbosch as Vice Dean for Research. I did that for 5 years. And I'm now in my 11th year as Dean. So I'm in injury time, I guess. But it was, you know, it's been such a joy to be part of Stellenbosch. It's been an institution that has always been open to new ideas and has been very enabling in helping me implement the vision that I had for education and for research and for community interaction. So, you know, that's just been wonderful, and I'm deeply grateful to that institution. But institutions, while being important, you know, in providing the environment, the right environment, it's the individuals, it's the people who where the magic actually happens. And so I just wanted to just very briefly just acknowledge all the wonderful people I've worked with locally and around the globe who have been an absolute inspiration to me. Some of them have been collaborators in research, others have been mentors. And I'm deeply grateful for the opportunity to have known and worked with people of the caliber that I have been. And so you really just want to acknowledge and pay tribute to them. But I also want to pay tribute to the younger, less experienced researchers and academics that I have worked with over many years. you know, they have given me a deep joy. I think one of the things that I have enjoyed most is helping to build capacity. And so I hope that the benefits I have derived and the pleasure I have derived out of working with these younger people is also something that they have experienced to some extent from working with me. And so I want to continue for, you know, as long as I can, to continue to build, you know, the strength and the capacity of younger people to go on to doing great things. This country is full of really, really talented people. What is lacking very often is opportunity and it's support. And so I delight in helping to play that role. And then lastly, I also just want to acknowledge family. And the two, you know, groups, I suppose, would be my parents, my mother and father, who really, you know, lived through a very difficult and dark time in this country. And during that time, raised 6 children. And you know, they just kept going. They were deprived of opportunities themselves, although they were quite talented, but never really had educational opportunities. But they protected, they nurtured, they guided the children. I would not be standing here today if it were not for them. So I want to just acknowledge them. As I think of them, both of them are long gone, but their legacy continues. And I am filled with pride when I think about them. And then the other person is my dear wife, Blossom, who is here this evening. And darling, I want to thank you for your love and your support over the years, and just being there alongside me and supporting me. I would not have been able to achieve any of the things that I have without you. So thank you very much for what you've done. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I just want to, again, Madam President, thank you and the MRC board for just this wonderful award. It's been a real privilege to be able to serve the people of this country by making a small contribution to strengthening the science and the education and the development in this country. And I look forward to many years of still being able to make some contribution in that sense. Thank you very much.
A little earlier this evening, Professor Rafiki and I were chatting, and he described a moment some years back during some student uprising where a third-year medical student got up in his face and said, "Let me give you a masterclass in leadership." And as I listened to our professors speak, both professors, I wished that student could be here tonight to listen to that citation, to see what has been accomplished and achieved. And there's almost a sadness in me that realized we live in a world with far too many celebrities and far too few heroes. But tonight we celebrated our heroes, as unsung as you were. We have a generation, or a young generation, who just want to be influencers, and yet a generation went before them who really made an impact in what you've done. And so to every single winner here tonight, our Presidential Award winners, our Platinum, Gold and Silver Award winners, thank you for being those unsung heroes and for really making life impact and life change for so many South Africans. We really do salute you, and tonight I think the recognition from peers has been amazing. So won't you please give yourselves a big round of applause. It comes from a very heartfelt thank you. With that, we're going to say goodbye to our online audience. We're together here at the SAMRC, so we're going to have some wine, some canapes. You guys are going to go and have to give supper to the kids, or, shared offspring, as Linda Gale Becker referred to them. I'm going to grab Professor Mike to find out how, after all he's done and accomplished, he has not a single grey hair on his head. That's going to be my conversation this evening during dinner. But thank you so much for joining us at our Scientific Merit Awards, the 7th one. We look forward to seeing you again next year for awards seasons. Until then, good night and God bless.